The fringes of the factory brigade ride alongside the hot rods of high horsepower at the MRA Finals. One machine has dominated the Outlaw class all year long. A Dairy State Bronco with blue oval motivation looks to set it in stone at Steelville. Welcome for the second time this season to Steelville, Missouri, Booker Farms in the Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags, this time around for the 2022 MRA Championship Finals. This 2022 season has unfortunately been one of loss, but it's not just been on the track. This dysfunctional bunch is no less affected by the absence of the ones who stood behind those who take the wheel. And tonight, we remember Anita Bonacker, who not only stood behind her immediate family, but those with whom they do battle. This is not a weekend of mourning, but a celebration of life and a continuance for those who still watch trackside. As we take a moment here, stay with us. The action gets underway next.
She was a devoted wife and a beautiful human being, and is now the free spirit that she lived to be.
This is more than mud. This is hallowed ground, where legends are born. Carnage is wrought. The Terrell Jones Memorial Scooby-Doo Fastest of the Fast returns to Sanford, April 7th and 8th. The wildest hill and hole action in the country. Unlimited DOT classes compete, along with the quickest, fastest machines of the fast track and the gnarly nitrous shootout and blown alcohol madness. 2 full days, multiple classes, intense competition. The Tyrrell Jones Memorial Scooby-Doo Fastest of the Fast. Coming to the Lee County Mud Sports Complex in Sanford, April 7th and 8th.
Welcome back to the Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags at Booker Farms as we continue our coverage of the 2022 MRA Championship Series here on Finals Weekend. The Outlaw Pro Stock's getting ready to start off their second session here this afternoon. Session 1 took place last night. Now we're going to take you through the live call of that action, but something occurred at the beginning of what was supposed to be Session 2 in the Outlaw Pro Stock division that caused us to have to call the class and move it to noon today. So we're going to catch you up on everything. Bear with us, and then we will come back to live action here this afternoon. Keep in mind, this track has a ton of bite in it, so we will probably see vehicles getting down around the record territory, but with the heavy clay that the Booker Farms crew brought in and added to the topsoil, we may very well see the record broken and reset tonight. Now, as we take a look at the points coming into this final weekend of action, Jason Chaya out of Weyowega, Wisconsin has all but wrapped up, unofficially taken the 2022 Outlaw Pro Stock Championship, but there is still some breathing room there for second, third, and fourth. And Greg Martinez, Jesse Brown, and Greg Booker fill in those 3 spots. And of course, you saw Will Harrison rounding out the top 5 with the only blower car in the class. Now, as our first pairing comes out, Rick George out of Franklin, Georgia, in the black and blue Chevrolet called Shag Nasty. Chassis built by Duke Bonahan of Wicked Fabrications, going side by side with Wayne Bonacker. Glad to see him back out of St. Louis. What a way to come off of a hiatus. Had to pedal the car at about half track. Still runs a 2.69. Rick George running a 2.82 with a 5. So a good pair of runs right there, but an awful lot of movement in the lanes. As you see Bonacker pick up the front end, set it back down, straightens it out, nails the hammer, and carries the front wheels across. The timing lights there on the top end of the track. Another look at it from the end zone. Watch Bonacker move to the middle. In fact, look how far to the center Rick George came. Bonacker going left, George going right, heads up driving for both of those guys to stay off that center line. As our second pair comes out, Jamie Suter in the 65 Chevrolet with the Rare & Morrison horsepower, 872 cubic inches of Rare & Morrison horsepower to be exact. Going side by side with David Gertz out of Loudonville, Ohio. Another machine that Eric Bidlack has had his hands in. Mo Muddy, the 87 CJ7 with a 632 cubic inch big block Chevy. The odds-on favorite out of this pairing, though, has to be Jamie Suter. A lot of secrets kept underneath of that beautiful black Chevrolet body. But here is a guy, if he can keep this thing straight, that could definitely reset the record here tonight. He's not going to do it on this evening. Kurtz will run a 2.89. Suter, though, barely getting out of the hole. You heard him get on the throttle, and then it died immediately. Hopefully he's not having any serious problems. Something maybe in the fuel injection or in the nitrous system. As he has the vehicle running, he'll take it off the track, go back into the pit area, and regroup. David Kurtz will do the same. Neither of them, I think, getting the runs that they were hoping for, so Bonaker's time will still stand. Now, here comes the man who has unofficially wrapped up the championship. That's Jason Chaya out of Weyauwega, Wisconsin. And here's the guy who's leading the Pro Stock Championship right now into this final weekend, Jesse Brown out of Waverly, Tennessee. 715 cubic inch big block Chevrolet, owned by Rocky Brown. The Volunteer State against the Dairy State. Chaya with a 788 cubic inch Bischoff Ford Hemi. Another vehicle out of the Racing in the Dirt shop. Walking around in those lanes. Look at Brown get off the power. A 281, and Chaya runs a 268 to take the #1 spot. It looked like a quick run, but I was not sure. He was riding the razor's edge of that center line once he came off the starting line there, moving around again to the left. At one point only had about 6 feet between himself and the DQ markers there as he leads the class. Now in session 1 with a 268 with a 3. Wayne Bonaker right behind him, though, with a 269. They'll both have another shot at it, trying to go for that record. Jesse Brown, Rick George, and David Kurtz right now rounding out the top 5 after 6 vehicles here in the first half of our session. The second half of the field is yet to go. We'll see if it gets any quicker. Stay with us.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date info, media, and all your other monster truck needs, visit monstersmonthly.com. And by Crush This. For a look inside the world of monster trucks, check out Crush This, a monster truck podcast. This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by RPM Army. For a wide array of content from across the motorsports world, visit rpmarmy.com, your high-performance fix on the go.
They are chasing Chaya right now in Steelville, Missouri. A 268 with a 3 is the lead time here in the Outlaw Pro Stocks. And now another Bronco with another driver out of Wisconsin. This is Scream, vehicle out of Las Vegas, New Mexico, normally campaigned by Greg Martinez. Right now being kept in the field by the fabricator on this machine, that being Shane O'Rogie out of Cleveland, Wisconsin, part of the Racing in the Dirt. In fact, one of the co-owners of the Racing in the Dirt shop, going side by side with a guy we have not seen in a long time, Brendan Whitkin in foreplay. Witkin with a beautiful straight pass, and look at that, he goes to the #1 spot with a 2.67. Orogi not looking bad at a 2.77, trying to keep Greg Martinez in the points right now, as Martinez taking a couple sabbaticals this year, recovering from back surgery. We did see him make a couple of runs in between his recovery periods, but decided to take this weekend off. And they may have a new machine coming out of that camp for next year. Right now, though, we go back to the line with a vehicle I have been waiting to get a look at all year long. Casey Lawyer, the Illini in strategic attack. 36 Chevrolet with a 712 cubic inch big block Chevrolet built by VZ Engines out of West Virginia, going side by side with a guy I talked about earlier, the only blower motor in the class. That's the Mississippi Mafia machine out of Grenada, Mississippi, part of the Harrison Longing family's multi-car team. His father runs a vehicle in the open class. We'll see a little bit later, but this machine running a 526 cubic inch Brad Anderson Hemi with a billet aluminum block and a 1471 Kobelco Roots blower. Be an interesting pairing right here, because Lawyer's vehicle should be one of the fastest in the class as far as the nitrous injected vehicles, but Harrison is looking to be super quick. We'll see if he can hook up on this awesome clay. Both of those guys were flying. Look at him all over the shutdown area, but he runs a 2.50. Will Harrison going to the #1 spot with a beautiful pass. Watch him again. He goes from one side of the lane to the other. Runs diagonally from corner to corner. Still betters the top time right now that was laid down by Jason Chaya. You can see the crew taking a look as Will took a little bit of a ride in the shutdown area. Well, Will, that blower is working for you. You took a wild ride down through that shutdown area, though.
Yes, sir. It got a little crooked on me. I had a little straighten out pedal on Big End, get it back in the road, but it got back out there.
This track seems like a good hooking track. I mean, I know a little bit harder bottom back home for you guys when you're testing this car, but it seemed like it's coming around real good now.
Yes, sir. It's doing pretty good. It's coming on along with us. We've been having a lot of fights with it.
You think you can hold it together for the rest of the night?
Yes, sir. We can give it everything she got this time.
All right, we'll let you get back to work.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Harrison just under 2/10 faster. Here comes a man himself, Greg Booker, another rat rod on the series, the American Outlaw from right here at Booker Farms. Problems immediately, and that will be a disqualification. A very disappointing run for Booker as he hooked hard left and just could not get the vehicle to stay off the center line. Not what he was looking for. So again, a very disappointing run here at home for Greg Booker. He'll take that thing back to the pits and take a look at it, see if it was the car or the track. Maybe a little bit of a both, as a brand new machine on the series. This is actually the first competition run for the new setup on this truck, as it was purchased from another team, but this is the first competition run for this driver, Chris Bonnecker, the nephew of Wayne Bonnecker, who you saw staging him up there. This is Havoc. 705 cubic inch engine in this machine. Let's see how his first pass goes. .303. It was a nice straight pass as he was way to the right-hand side of that lane, and that seems like the place to be right now. But I have a feeling there may have been some problems with the nitrous system on that run. We'll see if he can get that working and come back strong for session 2. Right now, though, Will Harrison again bettering the top time by just under 0.2 of a second. Brendan Witkin, Jason Chaya, and Wayne Bonnecker all in the 2.6 range, and then Shane Olrogi rounding out the top 5 in the 2.7 range. So that would get us through session 1. Now, we had a couple other classes come hit the track, the modified cuts, or excuse me, the modified paddles and the open cuts, and that took us into nighttime racing under the lights. Keep your eye on Casey Lawyer in the near lane. All over that center line. You can can see he's even dragging a cone under the left front as he did quite a bit of damage going down through there. Not so much to the vehicle. The vehicle was fine, but that right lane is causing all kinds of problems, and he ran over the timing equipment in the center of the track. As you can see, Travis Shoemaker working to try to pry some damaged clocks in the stand that they sit on out of some very heavy Show Me State soil. One more look at it. Hooked hard left very quickly. Fortunately, it did not meet the center line until he got past the 60-foot mark, so he did not knock that clock out. The other problem it caused is it was a wasted ride for Will Harrison, who was on a blistering pass here, especially with the cooler temperatures that they ran after sunset. Looked like he tried to pedal it quickly, got into the throttle, and the thing just stayed to the left. He maybe should have let off of it, but it's always easy to say what a driver should or shouldn't have done after the fact. It's very different when you're behind the wheel. But you see right there, they did get the clocks reset, but the red light will not go off on the tree. That was a look inside the timing tent. So the drivers got together and had a decision to make. The problem was not the damaged equipment. The problem now is that a weather system had moved into the valley and mist was settling on everything. The track was actually starting to get wet, and the timing equipment was starting to take on moisture, and they were getting false readings off the clocks every time they would set and then reset the clocks. And a decision was made that they did not want to waste a full 3 classes of passes on malfunctioning clocks. So that brings us to today, under the beautiful afternoon sun here in the Upper Merrimack region of the Show Me State. We are going to get things back underway. Session 2 will now take place underneath the sun, and what that may change is whether or not Will Harrison can stay on top of this thing, because that blower motor, like those cooler temperatures, can he stay number 1 here this afternoon in Steelville? We'll find out when we come back. We are back in Steelville, Missouri at the Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags on Booker Farms proper as the vehicles make their way back to the starting line to restart Session 2 as we scratch the run that we saw from last night. The guys we saw that were in the midst of that wild action will come back to the line. Will Harrison, who's leading the class right now with a 2.50 with a 3, and Casey Lawyer, who's looking to lay down a time. He red-lit in his first run of the weekend. That Strategic Attack out of Mount Carroll, Illinois, going side by side with the Grenada, Mississippi blown and injected Mississippi Mafia, a pair of old school pickups. Beautiful pass for Casey Lawyer, and a problem for Will Harrison. Runs a 3:23, a 2.70 for Lawyer. That will move him to the number 4 spot for the moment. He'll bump Shane Olrogi, driving Greg Martinez's machine, out of that number 4 spot down to number 5. Lawyer looking good. Look at the rear tires expand with all that horsepower and all that wheel speed. See if anybody can get past Will Harrison right now. Here's the guy that just got knocked down to the number 5 spot, Shane Olrogi, driving Scream for Greg Martinez out of Las Vegas, New Mexico. And Brendan Whitgen in foreplay out of Fowlerville, Michigan with a 700 cubic inch big block Chevy. Brendan holds the 150-foot track record in the Renegade class. We'll see if anybody beats that here this weekend. Nice run for Rogie, though a 2.80 will not help him out. Any Whitgen with problems on the run. Again, problems out of the left-hand lane. Once again, back on the line. Here comes Greg Booker in the American Outlaw. Have another single here. See if he can get his act together, as he had problems, you remember, in session 1. Got DQ'd crossing the center line. .274 with a 7 for Booker. Will put him in the number 5 spot, but it seemed like the vehicle was buffeting on its way down through there. Watch him. A little bit of bouncing on down through the track, but a solid straight run for Booker will put him number 5 as he outruns Shane O'Rogie's 2.775 from yesterday. And again, not a lot of movement. Getting all the way over to the left-hand side of that lane. When he checked up at the end, though, the rear end stepped out on him. No harm, no foul, as Chris Bonneker comes back to the line. This guy literally just got here from a Little League game he was coaching. Pulled up, got out of his coach's uniform, put on his driver's suit, and now he's on the starting line to run here in session 2 with Havoc out of Kirkwood, Missouri. His uncle Wayne Bonneker getting him staged up there. He's going to go to the far right-hand side. Had to pedal just a little bit, but it looked like a good run. A 2.92, much better than the run he had yesterday. I still don't think he's getting what he wants out of the truck, but a solid run to get session 2 underway. Stay with us, more action to come with the OPS class.
Hey, welcome to Wildman Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out of.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter. Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo. Gotta check it out. This week we're gonna go down memory lane.
Welcome back to Steelville, Missouri. Getting ready to wrap up the Outlaw Pro Stock class here at the Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags. The final event of 2022 for the MRA Championship Series. Right now, Will Harrison sitting on top with a 2.50 with a 3, followed by Brendan Whitgen at a 2.67. As Jesse Brown, points leader in the Pro Stock division, comes to stage against your unofficial, but he will end up being crowned the champion at the end of the year, Jason Chaya. And a little crazy out of Weyowega, Wisconsin. Another machine that came out of the racing in the dirt shop. See what he can do with that big Tony Bischoff horsepower. Little late launch, beautiful pair of runs, and look at that, a 2.52 for Chaya. Put him solidly in the number 2 spot. 200ths off the top time, laid down by Harrison. A little bit late out of the block. A good run for Jesse Brown, but not what he was looking for to finish out the sessions here. He'll get regrouped and come back for the Pro Stock division on another edition. We'll bring you here from Steelville. Here's a guy who had all kinds of problems yesterday. Jamie Suter out of Woodlawn, Tennessee. Another Volunteer State Chevrolet, the 65 Chevy with the gigantic Rare & Morrison power plant in the front. Gets ready to go side by side one more time with David Kurtz out of Loudonville, Ohio. Kurtz like to thank Tim Rush and Steve Brown for helping crew this machine throughout the season. And a great opening season for this vehicle. Beautiful 87 CJ7 and beautiful Chevrolet on the other side. Okay, so it's going to be a single here for David Kurtz, it looks like, as Jamie Suter is still having engine problems on the left-hand side of the track. His is just not his weekend in the 65 Chevy, so Kurtz is going to go solo right now. Don't think he's going to be able to get past that 2.5 mark. We're in a 2.89 in session one, runs a 2.84 here in session two. Not bad for David Kurtz out of Loudonville, Ohio, so he does speed up. He'll come back in the Pro Stock division a little bit later, but nice straight pass for David Kurtz in the Buckeye Jeep. Getting plenty of hook here on this heavier clay that they've mixed in now as Wayne Bonacker comes back to the line for a single, dedicating this weekend to the late Anita Bonacker, who we lost earlier this year, but it is great to see Wayne and the family back out here running. I cannot wait to see what they bring in for the 2023 season. I have a feeling they are going to be right back to the top of this thing, but this beautiful self-inflicted pickup out of St. Louis now, ready to go. 814 cubic inch Hemi racing engine. Big problems for Wayne. The machine goes quiet. About 50 feet off the starting line. He's got it refired. He'll take it off the track. A 456 losing power is actually not too bad. So he would have been on quite a run had that thing held together. But it does look like Will Harrison will dodge a couple of major bullets there as he takes the number one spot at a 2.50 and a very impressive 2.52 for Jason Chaya. I think had the vehicle not moved to the left, he could have gotten past Harrison. And it's Brendan Whitgen, Wayne Bonacker hanging on in there in the number 4 spot, and Casey Lawyer, who had a rough way to go yesterday after a red light and then a potential DQ. He got a rebirth when the weather would not cooperate with us, but this is how the season will wrap up in the Outlaw Pro Stocks, and this is after some points got knocked off. You notice the score for Jason Chaya is actually lower. They throw out your 2 worst scores of the year, so Chaya sits with 725 points. Greg Martinez hangs in there with the help of the Orogi family in the number 2 spot, not bad. And then the Pro Stock points leader, Jesse Brown, on in 3rd place. The man from right here at home, Greg Booker, in 4th with 465 points. And Will Harrison hangs on tightly to the number 5 spot. What a season it's been for the OPS class. Thanks for joining us for this first edition from the MRA Finals. We have plenty more to go from here. We will see you next time.